Okay, good evening all. This is a supplementary video to one I had posted earlier on my 92 Chevrolet K2500 TBI to carburetor swap. I just want to go in a little bit more detail on what I had done, and I'm going to actually give the part numbers and stuff and everything I used. I had a serious lean condition going on with this engine. It was a Jasper rebuild, so I was starting with an engine with some very, very low miles on it, maybe 5 or 6K, when I started getting this initial problem of exhaust manifold heating up cherry red and going from the left bank to the right bank, then both banks heating up, and then my entire exhaust system. I spent about 40 hours of diagnostic time going through vacuum leak, EGR, the temperature sensors. Let's see, what else did I go through? Not only that, let's see, there was the idle air control, the throttle position switch, and then I was looking at the module and the pickup and all that. I did not replace all that stuff. That's why I spent the 40 hours or so time, because I didn't want to throw parts at it. I really wanted to fix this thing and keep the factory TBI setup. But from all that I read, nobody, from what I saw, fixed the problem. I saw one guy throw everything but the kitchen sink at it, and he still had a problem. So I decided to make it simpler for myself. I'm old school. I wanted a carburetor. So I said, that's why I went with all brand new components. So what I had to do is, for my conversion, the start of it, determined I was going to use the factory in-tank pump, which delivers 10 to 14 psi. So you need to cut that pressure down with a fuel regulator. I ended up going with the Holley 3-port one, which is a 12-842. And I put the fuel regulator gauge right on it. And as I said earlier, I was going to put it in line, but anyhow, that pump cuts it. The regulator cuts it down to 5.5 psi approximately, which is set by Holley right from the factory. So that's why I did that, and I matched it with a Holley carburetor. I used the Holley 600 0-80457SA, which the SA designates the electric choke, which I didn't want to deal with a manual, so that's why I went with that setup. But Holley also makes what's called the Street Warrior, which gives you this bracket right here with 3 different setups, so you can hook up your kickdown linkage if you have the 700R, and there was, I think, the 4L60 does too. I have the 4L80, so I didn't need the bracket, which I bought previously thinking I had the 700R. So that bracket is on there. But that if you go with this universal carburetor like I did, you're going to need the kickdown bracket, which is 20-121. I also had to buy the kickdown accelerator bracket, which you can see right here. I used, that is 20-95 for that. And you also, for that to align right, you have to get the shorter Holley accelerator stud. I don't have that number right off my head, but I will post that on my site, on my page. And then I used the Wieand Street Warrior intake, which has that provision here for the Gen 1 heads, gives you that different angle, and I didn't want to deal with the, as I said, the intake with the extra little inserts to make it universal. I didn't want to deal with that. I wanted a cleaner setup than that. So from there, because I am running the automatic transmission, I have to run the TPS switch, which you see here, and Holley has a bracket which they sell that and the TPS at the same time. That is 534-202, and it is adjustable. So I'm gonna hopefully, what that setting has to do is you can either put an ohm meter, or if you guys have a thing to plug into the computer, but that at an idle should be at a 0.5 volt, and at full throttle should be 4.1 volts. So that's what I did in some research and found out, to be able to dial that in, because you have to have that on there in order for your converter to lock properly. You'll burn that fourth gear out basically if you do not run that TPS switch. And let's see, and then, oh yes, the electric choke, I fed with one of the wires that was coming to turn on for the injectors on the original TBI. So those come on with the key, so I just cut one of the, there was a red and a white wire, which were the hot ones when the ignition was turned on. So that's how I fed the power to go to my electric choke, to keep that in having an uninterrupted 12 volts. I wasn't going to splice it in with any other wires. Let's see, and from there, as I said, I used the factory HEI distributor. Let's see, what else was there? I got the regulator, so I wanted to explain those different numbers on that, and that's about it. So if there is any other questions, I would be more than happy to answer them. And as I had said before, but I want to give some of the numbers and stuff. But I highly recommend the change for anyone. It's just, this is such a happier motor now. It just was constricted. It just breathes so much easier. I have so much more power now. It just, it's running really, really fabulous. But I just wanted to add those few extra notes, and hopefully can save somebody some time, and hopefully that will is good information for anybody. Yeah, so that's all I really wanted to touch on. And as I said before, any other questions, please hit me up. And I have, like I said, I compiled the amount of fuel line I used, all the hose clamps. I actually went with a R44 plug, but I really should run a little bit hotter plug. And let's see, that ignition, as I said, I fed off of a separate coil wire, which was a pink wire, which does come on with the key. And as I had stated earlier, I didn't have to run a separate wire for my fuel pump. So like I said, just make sure you check that before cutting into the, like I said, that plug, that 4 wire plug that goes into the factory distributor. So that's about all I wanted to state on that, and hopefully everyone has good luck with the conversion, and like I said, I highly recommend it. So good luck to all, and hopefully this helps. Okay, thank you again, Andrew and Paul, for your information that got me started.